welcome back to my channel. My name is Lily and this is Lily's Lens on Life, where we discuss travel and living a more sustainable life. If you're new to my channel, please do not forget to subscribe so you can keep up to date with more content on travel and living more sustainably, and you can also follow me on social media at Lily's Lens on Life here. So by the time this video goes live, it will have been Easter weekend. I imagine that this was probably a difficult time for some of you guys who are used to spending the time with family and loved ones and celebrating. And of course, as we're all stuck at home at this time, I really hope that everyone was still able to take advantage of the time that they had to get in contact with loved ones, family, friends, or video chat. And hopefully we had nice weather so you were able to get out and get some fresh air as well. Anyways, sending my best to all of you and wishing and hoping that you all had a great Easter weekend. Without further ado, let's get into the video and discuss some ways that we can live more sustainably at home. So I recently did a video with you guys on how we can make more sustainable choices living in the world that we are in today, given our current situation with everyone kind of being at home and not having access to some of the things that they would normally have access to or their day-to-day routines. If you're interested in seeing this video, I'll link it here. Today's video is going to be more focused on how we can be more sustainable in our homes. This video is going to range from everything from really easy, low-cost ways that we can be more sustainable to maybe some slightly more advanced ways we can be more sustainable and might cost a little bit more money, but I'm hoping that by the end of the video you will have found at least a few items that you can apply to your new daily routine to live a more sustainable life. There are a few areas that we're going to touch on in today's video, and the first one is going to be how we can reduce household energy use. And pretty much every single one of these ways will cost you not only no money, in fact, they will actually save you money. They're very, very easy ways that we can implement changes into our daily life to be more sustainable. So the first one is turning off the lights when we don't need them. My parents were on us kids when we were younger to make sure we turned off the lights when we were done being in a room. And I used to get so annoyed. What's the big deal? But it does add up over time. And of course, now that I am an adult and I have looked into these things myself, I see the benefit, of course, by not having lights on in rooms that are not needed. So the first one is, of course, turning off the lights when you leave a room, and also just using and taking advantage of windows and natural lighting when you can, so you don't even need to turn on lights during the day. The second one also has to do with windows. If you're in a climate right now where it is quite warm, lucky you, I wish I was there. But that being said, open your windows instead of using air conditioning when you can. On vice versa, which is where we're at right now because it's still quite chilly where we are in Canada, instead of cranking up the heat to be more cozy at home, just add on the layers and don't crank your heat too much, unnecessarily adding to your energy use. The next way that we can save on energy use is actually, we're going to talk about laundry. So that is by washing our clothing in cold water instead of hot water. Of course, you don't need to use the energy to heat the water to clean your clothes. I pretty much almost exclusively wash my laundry in cold water unless I have the odd load where I'm doing towels or cloths from cleaning the house or maybe athletic gear. But other than that, I use cold water for all of my laundry, and then instead of using the dryer, I like to hang dry my clothes. Not only do I find this better for the clothing itself and the fibers and the color and the vibrancy, it is of course also more energy efficient. Thanks Dad for that. He was always a big fan of the clothes horse instead of using the dryer. The last one I have for energy use, which is really, really simple, but also very challenging in today's world, given how much we rely on screens, but that is limiting our screen time. And of course, when you're not using electronics, not having the chargers and things plugged into the wall unit, it just has unnecessary, I don't know how to say it technically, but electricity just going through and pumping through. That does save on energy use. This is an area, of course, that I am working on as well because it's so easy to spend time on screens between our phones and our computers and our TVs and our video games and any other system we might have. Of course, what we're doing to keep in touch with each other through video calls and things like that. But it's better to compartmentalize and maybe limit that screen time each day so that we can do other things like read a book or go outside for a walk. Of course, the less time we're on those screens, the more energy we're saving. The next area that we're going to touch on to be more sustainable at home is water conservation. So tip number one is to try and limit your showers to under 5 minutes. I'm sure most of us are guilty with enjoying just being under a hot steaming stream of water. But of course, this is no good for the environment. When you're done cleaning yourself, it is best to just go in the shower and do what you need to do and get out. The other one is to turn off our taps when we are doing things like brushing our teeth, washing our face, shaving our legs. The time that it takes to brush our teeth should be about 2 minutes usually, and if you're leaving your water streaming that whole time, it is so wasteful. The other thing is, even if you're shaving your legs in the shower, it's really simple to turn off the tap, shave your legs for the couple minutes it takes, and then turn it on to rinse off. Transitioning a little bit from that water conservation area over to minimizing waste, we're going to talk about bottled water. Of course, it's just better to drink from the tap if you're able to do so. I know in Canada we have a really great clean water sources coming right out of our tap, so if it's possible, it's better to drink the tap water rather than get in bottled water. Of course, this isn't an option for everyone, but that being said, for those of you who it is an option for, try and drink your tap water. If you don't really like the taste of your tap water, then it's simple to order something like charcoal sticks or ordering something like a Brita filter to keep in your fridge to have clean, fresh water. This next tip that has to do with water and limiting waste is actually my partner's favorite, and that is ordering a bidet attachment for your toilet. So bidet attachments usually come in two forms. One is a toilet seat that is actually has kind of like a control panel on the side. Those are really fancy. The other one is kind of a water gun, or as some people call it, a butt gun. But these ways are much more conservative waste-wise to wash yourself and clean yourself after going to the bathroom instead of having to use toilet paper. And of course, given some of the crazy trends that have been going on lately with stocking up on toilet paper, I mean, getting a bidet attachment just minimizes this altogether. One thing I read about bidets recently, which made me laugh out loud a little bit, but also prevail a lot of truth, was, you know, picture you're outside and you get crapped on by a bird, or your dog has to go to the bathroom on the ground, and then you go to pick up your dog's poo and you get some on your hand. Would you take a paper towel and wipe it off? No, of course not. You would go and wash your hands, right? Because other than that, it would just feel so dirty. And so, you know, really, when we go to the bathroom, why is it any different? Not only this, but it does save on toilet paper quite substantially. So this has been a really big saver in our household, and honestly, now that we have bidets, I love them, and I would not like to go back 2 days without them if I'm given the choice. The next tip is waste related in terms of clothing and items maybe that we no longer use. A lot of us might be taking this time to kind of go through closets or purging sprees in our house where we're kind of collecting goods that we haven't worn in a long time or we haven't used in a long time. And instead of obviously sending those to landfill or even recycling them, it's better to look at opportunities to maybe you can resell them. I know Facebook Marketplace is a great place to do this. If it's clothing, I personally like to use Poshmark to try and give my clothing a second lease on life to somebody who might enjoy it and get more use out of it than I am. Of course, another great way to deal with items that you no longer use or clothing you no longer wear, if they're still in good shape, is to donate them. So perhaps to any clothing donation bins that might be in your community or any of the women's shelters nearby. These are really great opportunities for you to, again, give your items another opportunity to be used by somebody else. For items that are of no longer high quality or look very good, so for example, maybe old towels or t-shirts or things like that, instead of sending them to landfill or recycling, maybe see if you can downcycle to using them as cleaning cloths for cleaning the kitchen or the bathroom or whatever before you retire them completely. Another great thing to do with items that no longer quite serve their purpose is maybe to see if you can upcycle them into a do-it-yourself and DIY project. I actually have a DIY project that I'm very excited to get working on soon, and you know what, I'm going to go and get it. 1 second. So as we are big gin fans at our house, my favorite is actually Hendrick's, and I actually think that their bottles are very pretty as well. So something that I've wanted to do is actually take one of the small, we call this size a Mickey in Canada. It is the 375 milliliter bottles. Pretty big, but a decent size still. When we're finished with this bottle, I'm going to turn this bottle into a soap dispenser instead of recycling it. So that is another way that you can upcycle items into a do-it-yourself project. And so yeah, so hopefully that turns out, and I will keep you guys posted with when that happens. There are of course tons of do-it-yourself project ideas online that you can find on Pinterest and Google and everywhere. So I recommend checking those out and getting creative. So while we're on the topic of DIY and also being more sustainable in our homes, another great way that you can be more sustainable is to create your own cleaning solutions. There are tons of recipes out there online if you just give them a Google, but I believe the most common one that I'm seeing is a half a cup of white vinegar for a half a glass of water. This is the very, very basic. A lot of people add a few tablespoons of lemon juice or maybe even essential oil to this to give it a little bit of a nicer smell. On that quick note though, I am gonna make a really brief comment on essential oil. So people, please don't come at me for this, but I do not believe essential oils are inherently sustainable items to have in your home. I do like to use them for aromatherapy reasons. They do, of course, make things smell nicer, and they're great to put in things like candles and cleaners and things like that. But in terms of just using them every single day for multiple purposes, they are quite unsustainable products. So I would recommend looking into not only where you're sourcing your essential oils from, the companies that you're purchasing them from, but also maybe paying attention to the types of essential oils you are getting, ensuring that they're not from endangered plant species or that they're not being sourced unethically. If you guys would like me to do a video where I dive a little bit deeper into the essential oil distilling process and how oils can be unethically or ethically sourced, I would be very happy to make that video. Until then, I'm not going to dive that much further into the topic, but yeah, so let's move on. The final tip that I have for being more sustainable in your home today, which is very simple, is when you are consuming your products either online or through shopping in the grocery store or whatnot, try to consume products that have a fair trade certification symbol on them. I'll place a couple of them on the screen here. These certifications can be very commonly found on things like coffee, tea, chocolate, or sugar. And there you have it. There's about 12-ish ideas in there for how you can be more sustainable in your home right now. A lot of these ideas cost you no money. Some will actually save you money. Others might cost you a little bit in the short term, but save you a lot in the long term, like the bidet purchase, which will be more expensive in the short term, but quite less expensive in the long term, as you will be purchasing far less toilet paper. And not only this, you will also be producing much less waste as well. Thank you so much for clicking on this video, and if you made it all the way to the end, extra big thank you, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you found it helpful. Please do not forget to subscribe, and please share in the comments down below what you guys are doing at this time to be more sustainable at home, and let's give each other some really helpful tips. I look forward to seeing you guys next week in my new video. Till then, bye guys!